There are two ways of working in Photoshop with your images: destructive and non-destructive editing. Now, destructive editing means permanently making changes to your original image, where non-destructive is exactly what it sounds like. It's making modifications to the image on top of the image without altering the original. Let me show you how to do both types of adjustments. So I have my house layer selected, and I can do destructive editing through the Image Adjustments menu. So for instance, if I wanted to turn this image black and white, this black and white dialog box comes up. I can adjust the color values within the document to increase or decrease the contrast in my image. When I have everything set the way I like it, I click OK, and you can see now that the house layer, which was color to start with, is now permanently black and white, which means that if that was my only image of that house and I saved and closed the file, there would be no way for me to get back to the original color house. So I'm going to undo that in my Layers panel and show you how to work with non-destructive editing. You'll do that through this button at the bottom of the Layers panel. This button, which looks like a little black and white cookie, is actually called the Create New Fill or Adjustment Layer button. So we're going to deal with the new fill layers, which are here grouped at the top. You can create a solid color fill, a gradient fill, or a pattern fill. And the fill will completely cover your entire document size unless you create a selection, and then it will only fill the selected area first. So we're just going to deal with straight on, fill out the whole thing, and we'll start with the solid color fill. All you need to do is select solid color as the option. The color picker dialog box opens. You can choose any color you like from the rainbow of colors here. And when you have the color that you like, click OK. Now it's fully opaque with the blending mode set to normal, but you can adjust the opacity through the opacity menu, or you can change the blending mode. So for instance, an overlay blending mode might work really good, or you can toggle through the different blending modes while you have the blending mode selected on a PC. You can actually use your up-down arrows to scroll through the different blending modes. Now we'll do the same thing with a gradient fill. Clicking on that cookie button, choosing gradient. The default gradient comes up, which is black that gradiently blends into transparency, but you can choose any other of the presets. By clicking on the down arrow here, you can apply any of these presets. Now most of them don't include any transparent areas, but you could certainly apply transparency to them if you wanted. There are also a bunch of free gradient libraries that come with Photoshop, which you can access through this options menu. All you need to do is select the library that you like, click the append button, and those will be added to the bottom of your window here. So just pick the one that you like. I'm going to go up with a rainbow. Now you could also change the style from linear to radial to angle, reflected, diamond. You can change the angle here, so depending on which one you have selected, you can set the angle, or just type it in if you happen to know what you want it to be. So I'm just going to put it at 90. You can increase or decrease the scale of the selected gradient. You can reverse the order, which sort of flips it on its edge, and then you can apply a dither, which will increase your file size but create smoother transitions between the colors within your gradient. Now, if you wanted to create your own gradient, you would click here on the gradient bar itself, and that opens up the gradient editor. The gradient editor will show you all of your presets along with the selected presets gradient options. So I have the rainbow selected. You can modify any of these, what we call stops, with different colors. So if I wanted to change the blue here, I would select it and the color would appear here. Then all I would need to do is open up my color picker and select a different color like so. If you wanted to remove a color stop from the gradient blend, just click and drag it away. You could also adjust the color stops. And when you have any one color stop selected, there's a little diamond between those, and those determine where the blend occurs between the two selected colors. If you wanted to add another stop, for instance, if I wanted to add a stop right here, all you have to do is click, add the stop. It remembers whatever color you had selected previously, but you could certainly go back in and change that stop and then adjust it. When you have the gradient blended to your satisfaction, you can click the New button to add that gradient to your presets, and that will always be there ready for you to use at any time. Then click OK to apply it, and click OK again to continue working with it. And again, this is at full opacity, so you can modify the opacity here by using the scrubby slider, or using the slider here by clicking on the down arrow, or by adjusting the blending mode. So if I want, I could toggle through all of these until I see one that speaks to me. I'm going to go back to the first one that I had it on. I really like the hue. And then now let's talk about that third option, which is the pattern. The pattern will show you the previously selected pattern, and once you have that pattern selected, you can scale it up or down. So that's really teeny tiny. Maybe I want to increase the size of it. Though notice that when you increase the size, some patterns will start to look fuzzy. So that's something to keep in mind. The larger your original, it's easier to scale it down than it is to scale it up. You can also change the pattern by clicking the down arrow and then accessing the options menu. There are a bunch of different patterns that you can add to your library here. Just click the append button and those will be added to the bottom of your panel. In fact, if you wanted to create your own pattern, what you do is select any pattern and click OK. I'm going to hide all of these, and then we're going to sample an area from the house, and I'll show you how easy it is to create your own pattern. So I'm going to select an area of the house right here, and with my selection, go to the Edit menu, choose Define Pattern. We'll call this My House. Click OK. Deselect the selection. I'm going to turn everything back on here. Double-click this because all these adjustment and fill layers are infinitely editable. And my Save Pattern should fall at the very bottom of the library panel. There's my pattern. I can scale it up or down. And click OK, and then I could go in again and adjust my blending mode. So remember, at any time, if you want to change any of these, you can double click on the thumbnail of the fill type, go in and choose a different option from the library, make any adjustments to it if needed, click OK. And this goes for the image inside of a pattern. This goes for a gradient fill, whichever one you want to select. So maybe I love this one. I just wanted to move that one over a little bit. Click OK. And the color, of course, you can change the color at any time by double clicking. Now, as I said at the start of this will fill the entire contents of your layer unless or until you modify the mask. So for instance, if we really like the effect that's going on with the combination of these three layers, we like it on the house, but we don't really like it on the sky, we can select the mask of any one of these fill layers and then make some changes to the mask. White means that the entire area is revealing that fill layer. So we would use our paintbrush to paint. White will reveal, but black will hide. So if I wanted to hide this from the sky area, all I have to do is make sure that that mask is selected, grab a paintbrush, and paint with black. You could also paint with 50% gray if you like, or of course painting with white. Well, that's how you work with the fill layers in Photoshop.